into it with this one right here. We got the old 21 kid, the cold room with Tweeko. We got Tweeko, the cold room with Tweeko, and we got the kid to the old 21. We got the old 21 to the kid, and especially he got the Tweeko, and he had that plugged in one. So he had the plugged in one, and he got the kid. Now we got the Tweeko. So everything else, like especially with his whole thing, he be having those poison district lyrics, like especially with the whole thing and everything else. And I didn't seen a little bit of the preview of this too. I was watching actually the preview and stuff like that. So this one, especially with the kid to the old 21 to the Tweeko to the cold room and everything else, but he be having some the masteric like things going on, especially with the whole thing. But we got one of the main mistress guys, like we got the old 21.
Elevate! This mix sounds mad.
LTS on the beat.
021 kid, make it lit. Back on my page and Jill shit.
I Tweeko mix this, you know. It sounds cold.
021, I'm a king of pleasure. I'm a hunting boss like Cyrus the Great. Repping the back home shit with pleasure. No drugs, we diamond ship it. Been years, Persian Jews, my treasure. Why them?
Ooh, he said coming from the treasure and everything else too. He said, and he's a diamond buster, just like the sirens is ringing. So he's basically just, hey, he can just ramble it through like just like some, like it was some off of some some symbols, like symbols raging, like you know how it's coming from a rage and everything else too. Like he can get the raging too, like you can get the sirens raging and everything else too. Like he coming from the main, like you coming from that main penguin to the rambles to all kinds of shiny.
Persian Jews, my treasure. Why them man keep on digging? Gang them top off the game, no pressure. So my man keep on chain. Long way from serving Pac-Man. Same bread from making track, man. Two fucks if they hating, man. Darling, come chill with the Persian gang. 1402 starting off heavy. I ain't tryna end on a Pac-Man. Two fucks if they hating, man. Darling, come chill with the Persian gang. 14.
Ooh, come chill with the penguin gang. Hey, the penguin, hey, especially with that, like they putting in too much, like too much in excitement.
From making track, man. Two fucks if they hating, man. Darling, come chill with the Persian gang. 1402 starting off heavy. I ain't tryna end on a pagan land, but call the bus if I up get jelly. That's hashtag Persian gang. Spot me a odd boy in a great tracksuit. If I back it, I let that block. Bear man hate, they shoulda be.
Ooh, he said if he backs it, then he gonna let it. He gonna let it grip. He gonna let it grip and bash like. Especially from that, and he said something got turned into a jelly. You know, we can hashtag that, and hashtag that.
Bear man hate, they shoulda be thankful. Patient signature mocked it. OT done that drill in a bad mood. Count how many man them I lost with. Cut ups get turned to statues. Low key tryna be 21 man. I'm a gun man. Back at the thing them brock that. Put him in spliff and bun that. How many times man done dash? You don't walk that badness. Drill 4C man stamp it standard. Came in and scene start ranking. Fresh home cause he putting on the bust and wrist. Fresh home tryna get him on tack shift like yo. I don't do buts and no maybes. Swinging my anglo all wavy. Step in a bando, oh baby. Had grip on a match from 018. Gliding uptown, peas get compound, bro, they jump.
Ooh, whoa, he said broad day from the jump outs and everything else too. Like especially with that, the whole thing being sketchy too. Like he really just he got it circling like it's all type of ways. Like you can really put it on all type of melodies and everything else. Like coming out from there, then you spinning you and then you doing like the main like posturous things that most comes of cost, like
Bro, they jump out, no safety. Man had the whole damn Aaron or shut down. Now I'm trying to do show Wembley. Ras man king of Persia, star shed drill. First chance on a gang jam. Mish a fan jam, jolo that damn Aaron or shut down. Now I'm trying to do show Wembley. Ras man king of Persia, star shed drill. First chance on a gang jam. Mish a fan jam, jolo در اجرا. پولشم پرداخته این ادوانس. ولی هر وقت تعطیل بکنم برگردم هنوزم تا پنجم. تو این بازیم دنبال 100 میل جدا سر رپرای فارسی هم بحثم. گست لیست فیومزم VIP چون شده پلاگ دیلم تاپ 10 پرس پلی. میرم فایر in a booth با چارلی شاد.
ooh, especially with that too. Like, hey, he didn't did the fire in the booth with Charlie. He didn't did the whole thing of the whole things, and he didn't did the full miss with the quest, the list of the VP. he didn't did everything. That's what I'm saying. Like he didn't came from the whole thing, and he didn't came from the whole thing. So he's coming from the Full Mist to everything else, like his name being the Full Mist and everything else, especially with the whole grimace thing too.
VIP چون شده پلاگ دیلم تاپ 10 پرس پلی میرم فایرین بوف با چارلی شایدم پارتیم بالانا دل ری بهتره برخورد باشه فرندلی چون اگه آبشی میری رو پند
Ooh, they better keep it friendly because everything else too, and especially with the whole thing, like as you ain't coming from that, like the whole thing it gets whoosh, like you get basically get whoosh, like it's another whole way of coming from that whole side, like you like everything else too, and especially how it just comes into the details too, like everything else.
ما میکردیم منطقه چارجیل بامون برام میومد گیم نت تهران هنو داشتیم خلاف زندگیش ریسکه با جرمای عمری بیف خارج موزیک نباشه چون میشه پیگیر رو هوندای دزدی سفیدیمون آب میشده شهرک طلبش رپری که فیسش مخفی یکا مچ بود ریلان فکتن بهت میگه من رضا بهش دادم چنجی 2017 استاک این ترپ هاوس 2018 پام رسید لندن 2019 سال رفت
Ooh, and I like how he just puts the whole mention, like he's putting it past, like he coming from everything else too, and then everything else how it just came into, like he was coming from the whole past to the next end to the next end, like especially with the whole thing, yeah, like the years passed and everything else too, like the 2019 years passed and it was wasted, like a lot of things was wasted too as you think about it, because it was like you had all these things that was happening too, and everything else too that was happening, like especially with those combos too, like it was really coming in from the whole thing, especially how everything else was just putting into those brute trolls.
پرتی 2020 ترکونده سبکم داره فرقم میشه قبلا هم احساس بگو نرن انقا بالا من بر چون این فنا میخوان جهانیش رپ فارسو میدونم فقط میاد دست من بر دو سه تا رم منگاه استث آسیام دو سه تا با من بچه ایتالیان وقتی بدخواه بودم پی رونده 12 بد بیا بودن رو تالیام کش میرسه حمدالله بارسم میدیم ما دست خلق الله رپ فا منتظر بود تگنان جهانیش کنه من گرفتم قلاب
I Tweeko mix this, you know. It sounds cold.
Elevate, this mix sounds mad.
He definitely went in, like he definitely went in with this whole one right here, like especially with the Tweeko to the 021 of the kid with the cold room and everything else. So he definitely took off. And then he, like he said, he had the fire in the booth, and then he had the flames and everything else. And then especially from everything else we coming into it with this one right here, like, but especially from the Tweeko and everything else and the 021 into the kids. So mainly from this one right here and everything else taking spotlight. This one right here it just went from a whole nother degrees. Like he didn't wished it from another degrees, but you guys definitely tune in with this one right here. Just from this.